What's up, you guys? Welcome back to the Christian Witch podcast, to my YouTube channel, depending where you're finding this. We have a fun video today. So it's got a full script, okay? And it's occult tea. I don't know if you've seen this hashtag going around. I think it's brilliant. The creators are wonderful for having this discussion, starting this discussion. I've been wanting to do this for several weeks, but honestly, I've been really busy and I wanted to be able to sit down and film a video along with it instead of just doing like an audio episode for the podcast, because I do want to be more present here on YouTube. And yeah, so let's just dive in. So this is occult tea, social media, witchcraft, grifters, aesthetics, imposter syndrome, FOMO, consumerism, gatekeeping. And yeah, so the first part is introduction. Introduce yourself. How long have you been practicing witchcraft in the online witchcraft space? What practices and topics do you discuss primarily? So hi, my name is Chosen. I'm a certified professional psychic medium, full-time healer, and Christian witch. And I've been practicing online for several years, but like I've been practicing my whole life. I come from a charismatic denomination or non-denominational charismatic background where we believed in the supernatural and stuff. And then over the last 10 years or so, I've been doing this kind of work. So, but online, like officially, like for other people, like a handful of years, maybe, I don't even know, like 5 to 7. But I have over 10 years of experience. I spent my entire adulthood pursuing these things. And so that's like the last decade and a half. So yeah, that's what I do. I discuss mainly witchcraft, healing, and psychic mediumship development. And I do it from a place that can help reconcile any incorrect or harmful beliefs that you picked up if you come from a Christian background or religious background. Part of what's unique about the work that I do is I help kind of reconcile those incorrect, harmful beliefs and heal those things and educate people and show them that, oh, they were never condemned to begin with. Who knew? We did. Our hearts screamed it. I discuss a lot of that kind of things. It's all healing focused for me. I do healing work a lot. And so I teach everything. It all comes down to energy, how to sense it, how to perceive it, how to manipulate it. And I'm eclectic. So I pull from the traditions in an honoring way, especially the ones that like run through my genetic makeup. And I also have my own practice that I construct my own things as well. So that's what I discuss primarily. So topic 1 is impact on community. What is my personal reasoning, inspiration behind sharing my practice online? What am I looking to achieve by participating? Do I seek to educate, learn, or connect? I seek to do all of those things, educate, learn, and connect. It's for community. So I'm a Christian witch. You don't have to be Christian to hang out with me. You don't have to ever believe what I believe. But I am kind of micro-niched in the way that like, I'm one of the only people out here doing this. And I'm grateful. I've had the blessing and the favor and the opportunity. When I say favor, I don't mean like, oh, God's favorite. I meant like, I just meant like I recognize the, what do you call it? The privilege I've had to spend time focusing on these things in my adulthood. So I'm looking to make community. I'm also looking to help other people. And, I know there's people looking for answers and maybe they don't have the same resources that other people have had to figure this stuff out. And so I'm like, here's some information, take it and grow. I believe that we can learn a lot by yielding to the wisdom of others. So yeah, that's what I've done in my practice, and that's what I try to do for others. I'm not saying that I'm all wise, like I don't know everything, but my reason behind sharing my practice online is to build community and to help heal and let people step into their power. I believe that I believe we have access to the resources of heaven, so to speak, well, not so to speak, like literally, like I believe we have resources to the universe, in the universe, and that we should be able to openly display raw power in order to change our circumstances, in order to change other people's circumstances. And so yeah, that's kind of what I'm here trying to help fill in the gaps and educate and help other people step into their power, heal, grow, and move towards that. And I do it in a way that's theological. Like it doesn't really matter what you believe. Like I have Satanist, Buddhist, pagan, non-pagan, all kinds of people that take my courses, and it's really cool to kind of just connect on the things that are like get past all the filters and connect on the core of things. So by the way, I'm not going to stop looking at myself in the camera. It's just natural to like want to make sure you're centered up, so I apologize. I'm trying. Okay, so yeah, I honestly, my heart is to help people heal. That's really what it comes down to, is to help and heal. So how do I believe social media as a whole has impacted the community? I think it's been incredibly beneficial. I think that it also has some incorrect and harmful things that have occurred. I think it's cool that we can connect, and that, you know, well, what's the like, especially like let's say you live out in the middle of nowhere. What are the chances you're going to be able to find someone who believes what you believe? What are the chances you're going to be able to, like, let's say in a Christian witch standpoint, you'd probably be burned at the stake. I mean, that's an exaggeration, and I understand nobody was burned in the United States. What I'm saying is it would have been a witch hunt, literally. So I think it's really cool that we can connect with other people, like-minded individuals. I think that's literally the point of social media. But I also think it can be kind of dangerous because there's not always the best or correct or beneficial information out there. And so, you know, I believe it's been really good, and I believe that it's kind of like when it comes down to witchcraft, magic, and power in general. Like, it's all about the energy, and like it doesn't matter. Like, the energy itself is neutral, right? It's how you use it. So like electricity can power a village, or it can electrocute someone to death on purpose. Like, it's how you use it, right? And so you can also use it for greed and to make money off of other people and manipulate them because you have this resource or perceived resource. So in social media, I believe that social media itself has been kind of neutral, but also incredibly beneficial in creating community. But and also, you know, there's the incorrect, harmful side of things. So, so how do I believe, or I'm sorry, how do I think social platforms such as TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube have impacted education and sharing information? Wonderful, created avenues. I think it's amazing. Again, the same concerns, right? It's the, you know, witch talk has a lot of incorrect and harmful things on there, okay? Witchcraft is not all about intention. There's a few things that go into being able to do magic, right? And you can boil it down, and intention is part of that, but like there's a lot of incorrect information out there, and there are things that are correct and there are things that aren't correct, okay? Not everything is open to interpretation. And you know, like, in saying that, it's not necessarily that's what's the word? It's not necessarily saying that everything has a correct and incorrect version, but there are a handful of things that, you know, like, if you don't know, you don't know, right? And there's people out there that are just making things up that aren't true. A lot of, yeah, I don't want to be negative or incorrect and harmful, but there's a lot of good. There's a lot of wonderful information, people being able to practice and learn for free. And then there's the, you know, in the true word ignorant, or in the true sense of the word ignorance, you know, people not knowing what they don't know, and maybe they're excited and sharing, and can kind of harm in the process. But I think it's been wonderful. I just don't like people that are trying to make money off of it and just trying to catch on to the trend and do all that. Okay, so anyways, enough rambling about that. So is consuming witchcraft content becoming a substitute for a practice? Yes. Something I think gets thrown around a lot is the armchair occultist terminology, and that's just, you know, yes, to an extent. There are people who learn and watch and view and don't actually practice, and so therefore, like, it is becoming a substitute for practice, right? But also there's times where, like, scrolling, learning, watching is feeding your practice, and so it's consuming. It can become a substitute, but again, it comes down to this idea of escapism, or not having like a sense of like uh, self-discipline and like actually practicing. So like anything can be an escapism, right? So if you're not practicing and if you're not actually learning or growing, you're just mindlessly scrolling, that's escapism, really. Okay, and you know, sometimes that's good, sometimes we need that, right? But like if you play video games all day long, not healthy. I mean, granted, I know there are people who are professionals that do that and like they're on top of their mental health, things like that. But just like watching TV all day long, or people who meditate all day long, that's a form of escapism. Things can become escapism, you guys. And again, it's not that those things are wrong, it's that you're using them to escape reality, okay? And we see this with a lot of people who've recovered from substance issues, and they'll just replace one escapism with another. And again, it's the escapism. And the reason it's dangerous, well, one of them as a medium, is you can actually have, you're wide open at that point, and so you can have issues come and attach and feed off of whatever you're going through. So that being said, that's kind of drastic and dramatic, so it's not necessarily you know, the case for everybody. But what are people doing on social media? What did we all do through the lockdown situation? Scrolled on TikTok. That's when TikTok blew up. We fell in love with it, right? Because we were escaping reality, okay? Some of that was healthy, though. It was giving people a practice. Others were just falling down a rabbit hole and just laying there not doing anything for weeks on end. And like it or not, that's not healthy in normal circumstances. I understand if like you're sick or you're hospital bound or something like that, but hopefully you get my point. It's about escaping, and that's when it becomes an issue. And is it becoming a substitute? It absolutely is an option for substituting your practice, 100%. But it can also be used as a tool to feed your practice. So I hope that made sense. I'm sorry. Actually, I'm not sorry. Thank you for listening. All right, topic 2, influencer authenticity. Out of what I share on social media, how much of it is staged versus reality? So what I share is reality. So I don't share a bunch, well, I haven't so far shared a bunch of rituals or things like that, but the ones I have been real, and it's been far and few between. So like, I think there's like a video of me like cleansing with fire. That was a real thing I was doing. I was just like, oh, this is beautiful. Let me get a picture of it, right? I think I posted like a picture of a spell after I did it like years ago or something like that, and that was real too. So most of it's real, it's reality. A lot of what I do is talking, sharing, giving. So yeah. Do I think there's an element of censorship in online spaces? How do I decipher what is appropriate to share online and what is to keep privately? Is this based on social media etiquette or personal preference? I think that there is definitely censorship. Like, it's like everyone wants to tell everyone else what they can believe. Like earlier we were talking about how there are things that are correct and are things that are incorrect. In those spaces, yeah, like we should give what is correct, but we shouldn't go and be and like it's not our job to correct other people's worldviews, and it's not our jobs to censor them or tell them what they can and cannot say. There's a righteous intolerance where like we just don't feed it, but you get more of the energy you feed. And so if you're always attacking or highlighting what's incorrect, you're going to get more of what's incorrect. You need to just feed what's correct and good and what you want to get more of. So yeah, so how do I decipher what's appropriate to share online? Is it helpful? Is it beneficial? Is it healing? Is it helping others on their path? If so, I share it. What do I keep private? Things I don't think is necessarily anyone's business. But like, for instance, if I'm going through heartache and I have a revelation, I might share a piece of that, but I don't share the entire heartache, so to speak. You know, that's my journey. So it's not really based on social media etiquette. I don't think that we're not responsible for how people react to what we say. And so things like censoring literal words or asking for trigger warnings can be kind of touchy, because to be honest, again, we're not responsible for how you react. That being said, we can't discount or dishonor or just not care about these people who are going through things, or they've been through things, and so they do get triggered. So how do we navigate that, right? We can't feel guilty or silence ourselves about, you know, speaking about something truth, or speaking about a piece of our truth, or something that's happened to us, but um, it's kind of one of those things where it's like there's the idea like, well, it's, you know, it's my profile, my channel, like this is what I'm sharing, like you don't have to be here. And we can be kind and say, hey guys, just so we know, like with you know, major topics, like we talk about some deeper, more intense things in this video, some darker subjects, so to speak. Or we can just share our truth without anticipating everyone's reactions. There's that concept too. And I think it's a balance of both. I think it's a honor yourself without dishonoring others. And that's going to look different for everyone. It's nuanced. And for me, I'll probably always, if something comes up, I'll be like, you know what, guys, just so you know, we are talking about some deep stuff, or you should see from the title of the video what we're talking about, or the description at least. So, you know, we don't want to do the work for people. People have to own their energy and have due diligence, but at the same time, it doesn't hurt us to be considerate, but that doesn't mean we have to be silent about what we want to talk about. So yeah, and then there's like actual social media, like companies telling us what we can and cannot say, which is wild, so wild. Also because no one owns the internet, no one governs the internet. So like, how are they getting away with any of this? I mean, I guess if I think about that, I could start making up reasons why, but not the point, not the point. Let's move on. All right, so have I ever encountered or heard of grifters in the community? Do I recognize them? What are the significant signs of grifters in the community? Let's define this word, because I don't think people understand this word a lot, but I want to give you the actual definition. The answer is yes, I've encountered them. So, all right, so a grifter is a person who uses fraud to swindle people out of money, also known as con artists, scammers, or charlatans. Yeah, absolutely 100% have encountered this. So I have people that impersonate me all the time, and they message my followers, they message people who aren't my followers, and they will, this is very common in the psychic world, the mediumship world, anyone that does readings or healings or magical work. Grand rising, beloved, highest blessings to you. Spirit has drawn me to your profile. I have a message for you. Send me $17 billion or else your whole family's gonna die. Child, no, absolutely not, okay? No ethical, professional, authentic healing worker is going to message you and solicit for readings, okay? We have enough healing work coming our way, and we know how to make ourselves available to do that work, okay? So I've had people who don't know me, who people try to get money out of them, and then they'll just send me money. Like, and how do I, let me explain that. I've had people who try to get money out of my followers, and then they'll realize they're being scammed, and they've like just sent me money. Just, they're like, thank you for never doing this. Thank you for not being a scam or a fraud. And I'm like, okay, but like, you don't have to give me money. Like awesome, cool. Like, I don't want to block your blessing, but like, in you earning, you know, karma and reaping what you sow, things like that. But at the same time, like, you don't have to give me money. Like, let me send it back to you. Anyways, and I've had some of them be like, absolutely not, keep it. And so I'm just like, all right, well, you have a credit with me then. So, anyways, moving on, not the point. So yeah, I've encountered them. You can't do anything about them. Social media companies won't help you. And how do you recognize them? Usually they'll have weird spellings in their names. They will message you. They will have all their posts posted on the same day. The cropping and the pictures look weird because they're all stolen and reposted. Yeah, you just have to know. And then there's people who like really get into character, and they show up and they're like doing readings live and stuff, and that's wild, because there's a lot of people like, there's one thing to be growing and developing, it's another to be charging $100 for a yes or no question, and you're not actually using any abilities there. okay? So I don't know about other people, but as a medium, I can pull your guides, I can look at your energy, I can talk to your higher self, and I can tell if you're lying, if you're making things up, or if you're actually using your abilities, okay? I don't walk around doing that to people because I have boundaries. Like I don't want to know anything about you that you haven't revealed to me, unless I'm doing a reading. Obviously, that's where that's why you come. But it's just wild. They get really into character and they're swindling people. Like they are conning them, and it's sad, right? But we don't want to focus on them or give them any more attention or credit than they deserve. We want to feed the correct energy we want to get more of, and so yeah, we just show up and do the right thing. So the next question is, what tools are helpful to decipher misinformation, and how can we communicate as a community prevent widespread information? Let's talk about it. Talk about how to recognize it, like we're doing right now. I think this is a great tool. I think we can post reminders, and yeah, that's really all we can do is just talk about it and be like, hey guys, like these are some signs of like authentic healers and readers, and if you trust somebody, and like for instance, like I have a select few people that I trust and will recommend to others, especially if I'm unavailable, things like that. So, you know, if somebody's vouching for someone or going live with someone, and it's not just like a one-time like interview or meeting for the first time, just chit-chatting, like you can probably assume that they're decent character, but at the same time, do your due diligence, you know? So how does a large following impact the perception of the creator? Does this immediately make them an expert, or are there assumptions as to why they have, or are there other assumptions as to why they have a large following? So what does the large following, how does it impact the creator? So it's something called social proof. Like back in the day, you needed to get to 10,000 followers as quick as possible to show that like you had something of value and like a reason to pay attention to you, okay? So there's a psychological game going on there, and it shows like, it's social proof. It's like, oh, like they have something worth listening to, right? Does this immediately make them an expert? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. People get famous all the time for absolutely nothing. So it doesn't make them an expert. Are there other assumptions as to why they may have a large following? Assumptions can just, I think the only assumptions we should really have are, we should expect the best from people. We should expect gold in people, and maybe they have a good personality. Maybe they posted a heartfelt video and people loved them. Maybe just they're fun. Maybe they're just nice people. Okay, we shouldn't assume that they've bought. That's not the word I wanted to use. I mean, it works, but purchased. There we go. Purchased followers or have bots. Like we don't want to assume that. And we don't want to assume that, oh, because they have large followings. Like for instance, like the Witch of Wonderlust, Olivia. Love her, one of my favorites, right? I wish she would post more videos, girl. Like I love your vlogs. Where you been? I need to check in. I've been so off social media. She could be posting like 20 a week and I wouldn't know lately. Anyways, like she has tons of followers, right? Ivy the Occultist is going up there. We have some other good ones as well. I'm blanking on at the moment. Not the point. Like Thorn Mooney has a good amount, like people like that, right? That they have information, they have followers, right? But when you watch them, like that's what tells you if they know what they're talking about or not, okay? It's not necessarily that they have the followers and that we assume that they're wonderful. It can seem that way. It'd be like, oh, well, they must know what they're talking about. Everyone's following them. Not necessarily true. There's things I disagree with all of them. As I'm sure there's several people that disagree with the things I have. I don't have tons of followers. I'm making YouTube videos. I'm trying to get past like 100 subscribers, okay? I don't even know how many I have. Probably like 5, but not the point. It doesn't mean anything. People can know something or not know something and have any amount of followers. You need to use discernment, and that comes from getting to know truth and perfect love. Like you need to understand those currents of energy and be able to recognize, like, that doesn't feel like it adds up, and then do your due diligence and, you know, study up and whatnot, okay? Don't, like I tell my students all the time, don't trust me just because you like me. Don't trust something just because I say it. So yeah, all right. Moving on, how does one maintain the balance of authenticity and content creation. I think just share your real life. Just share your real life to an extent, right? Like what's not acceptable to put online. Like don't be posting videos of you like washing your hair unless that's like you're making like hair content or something. But yeah, just be real, be you, be true. You don't want to build a machine or a brand or an image, or if you want to think about it in energy terms, you don't want to build a construct of energy of this like version of you that you have to then feed and maintain that energy, you know? So yeah, you want to be true. You want to be true from the get-go. I'm just talking with my hands, just throwing them all over the place. You just want to be real. It's so much more exhausting and can lead to burnout so much quicker to try to be anything other than you. And here's the deal, baby, is that nobody is ever going to be like you, ever in the world, okay? You are the one and only. You are handcrafted, and there will never be another you. And you need to know that. You need to own that, okay? I think that's kind of, what I'm doing, like, hello, like, gay, Christian, witch, medium, like, unicorn, if there was one, okay? So I'm trying to be real, and I hope other people's are too. So I think that's where the balance comes in, right? It's like authenticity, being real, and then content creation. I understand like having photo shoots. I understand having like pictures of your products or pictures of rituals after, okay? No one's saying you have to film a real ritual and put it up there. A good example of this is Ambrosia the Witch. I did an episode with her on the Christian Witch podcast recently, like back in December. And her TikTok, wonderful. She always has videos of things. And she's so funny too, by the way. Like if you haven't run across her yet, Amber is so funny. But yeah, I think just be real, you guys. Don't like, what's the point of trying to like create content if it's not like reality, it's now if fantasy is your thing, or if you're creating this version of yourself and living in that's fine. I'm like rambling again. What's my point here, Holy Spirit? My point here is that so long as you aren't living so out of your truth that it's becoming exhausting for you to live up to that and to put on for that, I think that's a good balance, to be able to, there's like, for instance, like we get dressed nice when we have nice things to do. We show up to social media when we have things, when there's a certain energy we give. Like I'm being a little bit more professional than I would be in a normal conversation, I'd probably be like, girl, these grifters, like, so yeah, anyways, there's a healthy balance, I think, to be found. Just make sure that you're being as true to yourself as you can be within the context of what you're doing. That sounded good. I hope that sounded good to you guys. Okay, anyways, moving on. Topic 3, imposter syndrome and FOMO. All right, so when I follow other creators in the community space, does it make me feel genuinely inspired and empowered, or does it create feelings of FOMO and being less than? No, it inspires me 100%. So I don't really get FOMO a lot. I'm very blessed to live a pretty fulfilled life. But I also follow the content that I like and that makes me feel good to see. So there are times when I'm exhausted and I haven't, like I just need to scroll and like feed my spirit and so on. But I don't think I ever get FOMO. The only time I ever got FOMO was when I saw a bunch of witchy creators doing, I forget who was involved, but they were talking about like, can you be a Christian and a witch? I was like, why not include the actual Christian witches out here? Like none of you are Christians or witches. Or Christian witches, well, I don't know, actually I didn't listen, so I don't know. Some of them could be. Whoops. I retract my statement, my bad. But there are a handful of us out here, like that's our thing. Like we are Christian witches and like that's what we're doing, right? And it wasn't really FOMO as much as it was like, I wish they would have had like, I think a lot of people, when they do bring up that topic, they talk about like traditional, like Catholic type views and incorporating traditional things. And like most of the world in the church is not all like traditional Catholic, and like Catholicism is Judaism and ancient religions like mixed together, which is totally fine, right? But it's different from Orthodox, not Orthodox, I'm sorry, Protestant, or for instance, like the Baptists aren't the same as the Methodists. The Methodists aren't the same as the Charismatics. The Pentecostals and the Charismatics are not the same. I'm getting my words mixed up, you guys. There's nothing wrong with any of those things. There's nothing wrong with Catholics, Methodists, Baptists, nothing. There's different interpretations, there's different views, right? And everyone wants to focus solely on Catholicism, I guess because it's one of the bigger ones. And there's like a bunch of other traditions, like I think like non-denominational, evangelical worldviews need to be brought into consideration too. And I think evangelicals, like, there's so much incorrect and harmful things going on there, but there's so many wonderful things and wonderful people that call themselves that, and they don't understand, or they haven't seen the incorrect and harmful stuff going on because they're not the ones living it out, right? But that's a different story. I come from a non-denominational charismatic background where we believed in the supernatural. Like, I was trained and taught how to expect miracle signs and wonders, laid hands on healings. Laying of hands for healings, prophesying, dream interpretations, expecting miracles, seeing them. Like, it was normal to see miracles. Like, 2 people got their hearing back after praying for them that were deaf before, like instantly. So like, I know these things are real. And I think having that perspective could have been cool in topics like that. But, you know, most of us have our own podcast, so it's fine too. But I think that's the only part I ever had was like a little, it wasn't even FOMO, really. It wasn't like fear of missing out. It was just kind of like, like, I think that would have been such a great conversation to be a part of, and be able to bring different perspectives too. But anyways, I'm rambling again. Sorry. Yeah, now I'm considering, did I say anything incorrect that I didn't mean to say? Sometimes I fumble my words, you guys. Please know that if I came across in a way that was less than honoring and with anything I've ever said in this video so far or will ever say, so you probably not my heart, and I probably fumbled my words, and I try to be on top of that. I really do. I'm sorry if that's happened. But like, again, nothing wrong with Baptist or Charismatics, nothing like that, okay? Or witches that aren't Christian. So, okay, if I experience FOMO, has it ever left me feeling vulnerable to being taken advantage of financially or otherwise? An example would be the need to purchase the latest popular product or book to fit in. No, I normally either already have them, or like books, especially love books. Like, I have multiple bookshelves around my house. Speaking of, I need to finish that shelf. Anyway, it's not the point. I've never felt the need to buy anything other than just like, oh, like, I'm really into crystals this week and I want to have a select few, but it wasn't ever influenced by social media. Matter of fact, I don't even think I've ever found anything on social media about crystals that I really jived with anyway. So yeah, I don't think I've ever seen anything online that makes me feel like I have to have something. Could just be me. All right. When practicing my craft, do I find myself comparing what I do to what I've been seeing other people do online? No. I don't personally. I also like, I don't know. I don't know if my content that I see, or the content that I see, is really, well, no, I don't think so. I don't really compare it at all. Especially because, like, if I like something someone's doing, or if I'm inspired by it, like, awesome, cool, maybe I'll do it. If I do it, I'm changing it and I'm making it my own, and I'm adding more power to it in different ways. Maybe I incorporate different layers of things. I don't really compare what I do to what I've seen online. My approach to online is, especially if I see something like I disagree with, is it's not my job to correct people's worldview, and I don't want to get more of that energy, so I'm not going to feed it. So I really don't care when certain things pop up. So I don't know. No, I guess I don't know. Should I be? I don't think so. I don't think it's healthy to do that. Okay, and the light's changing because it's a little cloudy. All right. So, in what ways do I combat imposter syndrome? This one I can relate to. Everyone does this. As a medium, I could be listing off social security numbers, weird inherited names, telling you where like a buried treasure is, and I still feel like I'm making it up. I still feel like I'm making it up because that's how it comes across, right? But anyways, in that, how do I combat it, right? And I know that's just one example amongst many. One, educate yourself. We have to rewire years of gaslighting ourselves to not trust our intuition, as well as to believe in things that we were taught not to believe in. So like educating yourself, rewriting what you believe in. And a belief is just something that you think a lot, right? So thinking about things, studying. I've read books several times that I really enjoy, that I feel like are beneficial and that they help me grow. So like, couldn't tell you at the moment. Like the Inner Temple of Witchcraft. It's a thickums, okay? It's a textbook. I've read that entire series multiple times, but that book in particular I've read like 4 or 5 times because it's just good. It's just good. So, and I'm always recommending it. And yeah, so how do I combat imposter syndrome? I learn new things. I rewrite the story. I go back and I say, that's an incorrect, harmful belief that I hold about myself that says I'm not enough, that I'm not this, that I'm not that. And I go back and I say, that's actually not true. This is the truth about that situation. This is how these things can work. This is the science behind this to an extent, right? And I'm one of those people that I want to stop trying to explain scientifically everything when it comes to the supernatural. But at the same time, there is a little bit of like a working theory to have that helps you believe in it and gets you excited and sees the potential. So feeding those things is really important as well. But imposter syndrome really comes down to this idea of like not being enough, not having anything to give, and that's just not true. Everyone has a gift. You have a gift. You're amazing. You're incredible. You are enough just because you exist. And that's the truth. And we have to educate ourselves, and we have to heal those lies that we accidentally picked up along the way that say otherwise. You know, everyone is enough exactly how they are, okay? That doesn't mean we don't have healing to do. That doesn't mean we can't improve or get better, but it's not based on performance. We're enough because we're enough, and we have gifts that we can share with people, okay? And when I say gifts, I mean kindness, love. Maybe you're blessed in ways where you can literally help people out. Maybe you're strong and you can lift things. Maybe you're loaded and can like donate to charity. Who knows, right? But like we all have gifts and ways that we can help. And so when we're being true and authentic and not posing and trying to become this other character, right? And I understand there's a time and a place for that, right? Like there's theater, there's art, there's all kinds of things like that, right? In ritual, some people enact things. So I get like there's a time and a place for that, but mostly being authentic. I think when we start saying, this is the truth about things, and this is what I'm aligning my energy with, and we come into alignment with that, everything else begins to kind of quiet down. So I don't know, that's kind of what I do. I remind myself of the truth about situations. Instead of affirmations, I use statements of truth, because truth never changes, and affirmations, sometimes they lose meaning. Sometimes they become repetitive and annoying. But truth, no matter what, will always be true, okay? So, and then you get into the conversation, well, is truth relative? Not really, it's not. There's things that are true and there's things that are not true. And something that's not true is that you're not enough. That's not true. You're so much more than enough, I promise you, okay? All right, moving on. What would my practice look like without the social media influence of other creators? I think, that's a great question. I don't know. I think in a way they kind of like inspire me when I'm like in lulls where I don't really like want to do anything every now and then. I also learn things, so I'm sure there's things I wouldn't have learned so far. and I've kind of like incorporated elements or learned about certain traditions. So I think it may look different in the fact that I just may have not had access to things, and it may have taken me longer to get there. But I also, again, I want to reiterate, it's not like I'm comparing my practice to like the Witch of Wonderlust or the Witch of Enchantment or things like that, right? So yeah. So I think it would just be, I don't know. I think that I've definitely yielded to the wisdom of others and grown quicker. So I'm not without that, I feel like I would have. I don't know. I do a lot of self study though, you guys. Like so many books. Like so many books. Like that's just a couple shelves. There's like a whole nother one full over there. So yeah. And also like the basics of my practice I've had for years before I've even really started following a lot of these people. So maybe it wouldn't look all that different, but there are definitely things I've learned from seeing it. So, all right. Topic 4, capitalizing off community. Do I consider online communities as equally valid to in-person communities? Equally valid as a community? Yeah, like you can have incredible friends that you meet online, meet some soul family online, right? But at the same time, there are certain scenarios that are not going to be as impactful as being in person, and that's just the way it is. Like think about concerts you watch online versus concerts you're at in person. You can feel the energy, you're there, it's different, right? Your perception will always be different. So, in those kinds of ways, it's not that they're not valid, they're just different experiences. So, but other than that, online communities, yeah, they're just as valid. It also depends like what you're requiring from that community or what the community's claiming to be. If you're claiming to be a working coven and all y'all do is meet and talk about the teas you had over the week, like that's not really a working coven that's learning and doing witchcraft. It's more like people enjoying tea, and that's totally fine. You can totally do that. But again, it's like, what are you claiming to be doing? So, and that doesn't make them invalid either. It's just like may not be the right fit for people who thought it would be something else. Okay, moving on. How have online occult / witchcraft communities impacted me as a person and a practitioner? We have a community online. I'm the pastor of an online group called Christian Witchcraft. We have about 12,000 members. And that group, specifically for people coming from an Abrahamic background, is incredibly healing. We have incredible resources available written by doctors of divinity, doctors of psychology, licensed counselors, nurses, holistic practitioners, holistic doctors, actual medical doctors, all these people who are also Christian witches, mystics, and healers of some sort. There's a lot of information to help heal, learn, and grow, and also heal trauma and shame and things like that. So in that ways, we have amazing communities that have really impacted me. I also have other communities that stress me out because they want to argue every little detail, and I don't participate, but I see other people get involved, and I'm like, you guys, like, why are you wasting your breath over this? Like, it's not that important. So when I say stressed out, like I'm not actually stressed out. That's a little bit of an exaggeration, but I've had people shun me for being a Christian witch when I have done nothing. I haven't said anything about Christianity, Christ, in those groups and places. Like, just was there, and they found out like, oh, like he's ChristianWitchHTX, block. And I think that speaks way more of them than it has to do with anything else. But how I've been impacted, I've also, my spirit has been fed by online communities on YouTube and TikTok, Instagram, Reddit, other places. It's been really inspiring. And also like, it can make you not feel alone. And so I've been impacted in really great ways. And for Christian witches, I'm also trying, and people who are not Christian witches, maybe you just grew up Christian, and so you have like underlying like worldviews that like I'm able to help you make sense of other things with. You don't have to be Christian to hang out with me, basically is what I'm saying. But I'm trying to do the same thing, build a community. And when I say build a community, I mean just unite with people. Like, hey, like or out here using the hashtag Christian Witch. You're not alone. You're not incorrect. You're not selling your soul to some ultimate source of evil, and your gifts were never condemned to begin with. That kind of a thing, right? So yeah, what are some of the dangers of the current phenomenon of capitalizing off the Christian Witch community? Have I personally been affected by this, or have I witnessed someone else be affected? I think, what are some of the dangers? Well, people getting products that aren't real, crystals that aren't real, unethically sourced things, herbs that aren't consumable being sold as consumable without licenses to do so. Just so many nonsense books out there. I will not be talking about them. Or people who write books that are really aesthetically pleasing and sound really good, but they're actually just using a bunch of words to make it look like they're not ripping off other books that were written years before, while crediting those people. Like, it's just, and here's the deal. I'm writing a book, I'll probably do the same thing. I'm not really judging. I'm just saying, I feel like some things were rushed, or pressure was applied in some areas, and then there's books that make completely no sense, and like, yeah, I'm rambling again. I'm on a rant. I don't mean to be. Books are my thing, so I love books. So I hate buying books that like tell you nothing. It's like, the grass is green. If you look up, there's a sun in the sky. Like, yes, we know. Thank you. And then, again, like I said, there's tools and supplies that aren't legit most of the time. Well, not most of the time, sorry. At times is what I meant to say, not most of the time. At times. And then on the other side, there's dangers of like people getting into this just for the money, and they don't know what they're doing. And not only are they messing up people's lives, but they're also like risking, like, what if this isn't trendy for long? Like, I've seen businesses come and go. So real authentic witchcraft, magic, metaphysical stores, occult supply stores, those will stay around. The ones that are getting into it just for the trends and the crystals and the cute little, stuffed animals, things like that. Those things are cute, right? Like, those things absolutely have an audience. But if you're claiming to be for authentic practitioners of the metaphysical community, and really you're more for people who have that aesthetic, I don't know how successful you're going to be. For instance, I have friends all around the city of Houston. I know most of the metaphysical store owners. I teach classes or do markets and stuff with them. Oh my gosh, my cat is. Can you, oh, relax. Are you okay? Sorry, you guys. Poor baby. Sorry, the camera is shaking and whatnot. It's from the cat. He got startled when I was checking on him. Anyways, what was I saying? Like, some of them do both, right? They have the aesthetic stuff, they have like boutique-y type stuff, but they also have supplies. They're also actually offering help to people. We've had stores that, like, a friend and I bought something, and like, it got wet and like the paint rolled right off of it. It was like a stone bracelet. And we were like, hey, like, we know you probably had no idea, but like, look. And they were like mortified that their supplier like would do that. So yeah, like there's different dangers and stuff like that off people capitalizing. It can also really burn people out when this practice is beneficial and healing. So yeah, I'm sure there's way more I'm not thinking of. My cat totally threw me off. Moving on. Should there be paywalled communities and online courses? Absolutely. I have courses that I teach. And I think when all of the mysteries, all of the deeper things are just out there, we're just throwing them out there, they lose the meaning. But also, here's the deal. Here's one of the main concerns, right? People will try and come, and one of my mentors who, unfortunately, like, we're not really connected anymore because they kind of turned weird on me. Anyways, not the point, but they had this go on, and I've seen this go on as well. People will come and try to steal your curriculum, okay? I have to make people sign non-disclosures and non-reteaching forms and things like that so that they can't come and steal that information and reteach it. And if they do, then, well, there's legal action. In that way, like, if we're constantly just giving all these like deep, crazy mysteries, you have people who are charlatans and frauds and con artists that will just set up like Udemy courses with basic information and charge so much money and rip people off, and they're actually not learning anything because they don't understand the deeper concepts behind it. So I don't know. There should be paywalls for sure. For instance, when as a medium, my prices are set at a place that it's people who are authentically looking for healing. They are the ones that are going to book that session. Okay, if I'm doing $5 readings for everybody, people who are not trying to hear messages, who are not trying to heal, who are not there to receive, they're there for entertainment, okay? And we're not entertainment, okay? We're not here for giggles. This is healing work first, business second. And so, even then, like, there needs to be a paywall. There needs to be some sort of exchange always, or needs to be exchange. It's an energetic thing, okay? If I'm giving, like, I have to receive something. And everyone has to do this, right? I'm just using myself as an example. But like when I do, like, I'll go on TikTok and I'll do live readings, and I'll do it at a much discounted rate. That way people can get readings if they can't afford a full reading. But there still has to be that exchange. And there's times where I'm, led by spirit to do things for free, or to give of myself freely, things like that. But there needs to be an exchange, and it's not so much that the paywall is for protection all the time. Sometimes it's just the exchange of energy, right? So I think I think having those systems in place can be really beneficial and helpful for many reasons. But again, we also should have accessible ones, accessible communities that aren't paywalled either. If you want to go deeper, this is where you go. How does one ensure the authenticity of courses, workshops, memberships, etc., as a financial investment? So discernment, honestly, discernment. You're going to have to look at those people and look at what they're doing, watch them live, or like videos or content, or whatever. Like, listen to them, like, see, like, do you jive with what they're saying? Like, all we're doing as people on the internet is saying, this is what I believe. I think it can be of help. If you want to learn, I'm here, right? So if you like that person and feel like you can trust them and use discernment, then, and it's not like a $17,000 course, you're probably safe, right? For instance, I have live classes that are 1 to 2 hours long for a certain amount of weeks. We have the 15-week course that's a magic and healing course. You learn witchcraft, healing, psychic development, and it takes you to a pretty advanced level in 15 weeks, okay? Now you get out what you put in. So like, I teach you the things, but if you are, if you just sit there and listen the whole time, you're probably not going to really be advanced at that point. But most people participate. Most people are not the same people. And then we have the 23-week mediumship course, which is really, it's in depth too. So I charge less than a 15-minute reading for me for those classes. And you can tell when people are in it for the money and when they're not, okay? Those classes, of course, at some point they will go up in price. They have to. We have to as we adapt as a society. But, and also like accessibility, like the content will be, it'll evolve, and then there'll be, there's times where I do, what was I just saying? Accessibility. Oh, like I do scholarships. Like, there's people that get to do the course for free based on certain situations, right? So it's not like it's not a cash grab. And I tell people that all the time. Like, I'm not here. If I was, like, it would be like quadruple the price. So anyways, so I can only speak for myself and like tell you kind of like, I would look for things like that in other people. How serious do they seem to be about helping, healing, and growing, right? How does one ensure the authenticity of courses? Also, look at the curriculum. Like, I have a general overview on my websites, and that's so like people can see like, oh, we're going to be touching on these things, right? But I don't give like the full curriculum because people try to steal that as it is. So yeah, and also like again, pricing, like, is it reasonable once you consider everything going in there, right? Like my courses are valued at almost $10,000, and I'm not charging anywhere near a fraction of that. So, and that's on the low end. So then there's people out there that are charging $2,000 for a course, and it's 101 basics that you can learn in like an online blog, which is wonderful resources. I'm not insulting the blog. I'm just saying like we shouldn't be charging $1,000 for it. Okay, anyways, I don't know what I was saying. All right, moving on. Discernment comes down to discernment. That's what I was saying. Discernment and like little research and checking in with yourself. Okay, so conclusions. What are some of the topics of conversation I'd like to see more of in our community? I'd like to stop attacking one another, and I'd like to stop. I'd like to be able to say like, hey, this is this system that we're talking about, and it doesn't mean that your system is wrong. But this is the system we're talking about right now, right? And we can have discussions about that kind of thing. I'd like to see people building each other up, helping each other out, not teasing information just to get more growth or investments. I think we should, honestly, I think I would like to see people show up more to be of healing service to others, to help them heal, grow, and learn, and move towards life purpose. Like that's what I really want to see the most of, as well as like community that says like, hey, you're welcome here. You're as welcome as you want to be. You're wanted, you're loved, you're invited. And we're not judging you. We're not, censoring you. And, there's rules. Obviously we can't show up naked with like machine guns, right? But like, oh God, I hope that doesn't get like censored or something. Anyways, it was supposed to be drastic for a reason. So yeah, I guess stuff like that, like as long as it's I don't know, things, when I think of community, like good community things. Topics of conversation, though, that was the question actually. Okay, well, that's a different answer. So, well, slightly. Things that are healing. Let's stop bashing incorrect, harmful things we've experienced. Let's stop focusing on what they did wrong and how we're different and how we're owning our power. And let's talk about like, if they didn't exist, how are we healing ourselves regardless? So what are my community needs? Girl, I cannot claim to answer that. What are my community needs? To feel loved, supported, and wanted, and to know that they are enough, that everything they want is available to them, and that they can have and relate to people. They can have relationships and relate to people, and that they have community. So when you ask what my community needs are, it's those things. It's to know that they're enough and that they're wanted, they're loved, and that everything is available to them. They can achieve things, they can relate to other people, they're not alone. Those are my community needs. So also like teaching them how to do so, teaching them how to own their power and how to openly display raw power in order to change things. So where would I like to be held and supported? I would love to stop getting the reactions of when people are like, oh, Christian Witch, it's very positive, like, oh my God, I love that. But also like the, you can't do that. Okay, thanks for coming. Again, we don't feed the energy we don't want to get more of. Ignorance in the true sense of the word, not knowing what you don't know. I would love to have people stop trying to tell me what I can and cannot do when they're baseless. So yeah. Where do I feel like I'm not truly being seen by my community? I don't know. I'm not really trying to be seen, so to speak. But at the same time, like, it's kind of, there's a part of me that's kind of excited, like, I'm gonna be seen at some level because, like, I'm trying to build this community for people. Like, fame is not my goal, I guess is what I'm trying to say, right? But how do I feel like I'm not truly being seen? Well, algorithms, and I'll tell you that right now. They'll definitely keep you from getting seen. But I don't know. I feel like I don't know. I don't really feel so much that I'm not really being seen. How can we help each other in removing the external peer pressure and growing community? I think that whole building those. Let's foster a culture of honor and unconditional love and trust, where we can talk about things, address things without offending people, without feeling attacked, without shunning people. But we can also heal that esteem and that confidence that you are enough, you are loved. Like, you can do anything you want to do, and let's help you figure it out. I think that is how we remove that external peer pressure and letting people know, like, I'm no different than you. I just spent more time learning things, and like, you can do the same thing. Like, as a medium, like, everyone's a medium, everyone's psychic. Okay, like, if you weren't, you would be dead. So, like, it's not a gift. The gift is being in touch with it or learning to access those abilities, you know? So, how can we as a community come together with more constructive criticism without seemingly shady, passive aggressive? I think if we're open, honest, and vulnerable communication, where we're saying, hey, you know, something's off here, and I don't want you to feel like I'm attacking you, and I don't want to feel like you're attacking me. And I'm not really sure how we get from point A to point B, but I want us to move towards this idea. Something's off here. Maybe I don't know what it is. But like, are you willing to, like, let's figure it out together, and then we can like move towards wholeness or healing or whatever it may be. That open, vulnerable communication, that's what it's going to take. It's going to take being able to talk about things without getting defensive. Okay. We're not shutting down your beliefs. We can work through them, and we can disagree with your beliefs without disagreeing with your existence. So, you know, like, we don't need to, well, this is my experience and X, Y, and Z. Well, you know, experience isn't always truth. And I'm one for experiential knowledge. Like, I teach my students, if you experience it, you believe in it easier, right? But if I paint a 6 on the ground and someone walks the other way and sees a 9, that's experience. But at the end of the day, I meant it to be a 6. And so it's a 6. So that being said, we need to have vulnerable communication where we're able to talk about things and lovingly do so and be able to honor people. Yeah, so, and be able to create that open space and be like, I'm not sure how to go about it, and I don't want it to come across like I'm being rude or attacking, things like that, you know? All right, so moving on. How can we as a community do better when we do receive criticism and feedback? I feel like if we do it in an appropriate way, like we just discussed, it'll make it more easier. And also understanding that it's not about us, it's not about rejecting us. Let's remove ego out of it, okay? And yeah. All we can do is own our energy, you guys. If we own our energy, all we can do is show up, do our part. We can't wait for other people to do their part, okay? And we can't do the healing work for them. So, you know, just own your energy and try your best, right? So who are some community members that I look up to that are reliable resources and aspirations? One other thing I want to say about the previous question is owning your energy means understanding that things aren't about you and that it's not personal or egotistical based feedback, you know? So anyways, so community members that I look up to are reliable sources, aspirations. I'm going to blank on a ton of them right now, but Dr. Kimberly Courier from Christian Witch and the Craft. Thorn Mooney, I love Thorn Mooney. Like I said earlier, Witch of Wonderlust, Witch of Enchantment. Excuse me. I love watching Jenny Metherell as well. Hearth Witch is cool, right? Some of these have larger channels, right? But smaller channels as well are just as good. Let me pull up my subscriptions real quick, and I will show you real quick. So Ivy the Cultist is good. Hoodoo Delish, love that channel. Mickey Mueller is also great. Simply Witched, The Witch of Whitetail Hollow, Conjure Cardea. There's more, just it's not loading. Okay, there we go. I really liked Amy Mullane when I started watching videos years ago. Well, it wasn't when I started, but years ago I found her. I said The Witch of Whitetail Hollow. Alvine's great as well. The Witch's Cauldron, Bewitching Bemused, Delora Dabbles. I don't know, I think Harmony Nice is on here anymore, but she might be, I don't know. What else? There's more. It doesn't show me all of them right here. But those are some good ones. Ivy the Occultist, the Norse Witch, I don't always watch her, but what's her name? I'm looking right now to see if I have a video of her on here. I may not. Uh-oh. Okay, well, I might just not have her on here right now. That's okay. There's a bunch of really cool ones out there. Oh, local people that I love. I can't think of any of their usernames. Oh well, I'll do shout outs later. You can also find people that I've interviewed online. Auntie Sean, psychic medium from Louisiana. Ambrosia the Witch is awesome. Sarah Razastressen is good. We have Spirituality, Lena the Jesus Witch, Amber from Eden Circle. So yeah, Hadassah, I believe is her spiritual name. There's a bunch of people, you guys. I just can't think of them all right now. Did I say Thorn Mooney? Thorn Mooney. I feel like I've said her name like 5 times in this video. Epiphany, the Worthy Witch. Who else? I don't know. I'm racking my brain right now. Who are community members? Community members, like online community. If I'm gonna list some authors I really like too. Christopher Penczak. We have Anne Mora, Stephen Forrest. Who else? I can't think of any right now, and I can't see that far, but my neck just pinched or something. Sorry, you guys. Yeah. Oh, Marshall, Witch of Southern Light. Love him. He's really nice. Met him. Gonna have him on the podcast soon. Yeah, I think that's a good list. All right, moving on. So add any further thoughts, comments, prompts, questions of your own and express your further points and offer solutions. Honestly, you guys, I think I'm gonna need more matcha to do that, but maybe I can do this in a further episode of the podcast, or maybe I'll make a part 2. So anyways, I hope you've enjoyed this video. I filmed it once before and accidentally it got destroyed. So this is round 2, and we're only at about an hour and 10 minutes. So yay, rambling. Anyways, love you guys. Thank you for listening. If this is your first time catching me, please stick around. You're so welcome here. And you don't have to believe what I believe. And if there's anything you want to hear or learn about, feel free to DM me or comment. And if you are looking for classes, I offer a lot of those things as well. Trainings, healings, readings. You can go to ChristianWitchHTX to find that, or just get in contact with me. Not a cash grab. You never have to buy anything from me, I promise. But if you're looking for resources, feel free to reach out. So yeah, bye guys.